Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a fun new tag video, and this is the A to Z makeup favorites. I haven't seen one exactly like this going around on YouTube, but there was, I guess a while back, a makeup challenge where it was like the A to Z makeup challenge where people had to do their makeup on camera in alphabetical order. But this is completely different than that. This is actually like coming up with a favorite product for each letter of the alphabet. And I was debating whether to do like either the brand name as the letter or the actual name of the product, and I decided to just go ahead and stick with the brand names. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so for the letter A, I chose Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I picked the Norvina palette. This was super hard because I love a lot of Anastasia's palettes, and this one just came to mind because I feel like Soft Glam was always my #1 favorite palette from ABH, but lately I've really been into the Norvina palette a little bit more just because it has like all of those neutral shades that the Soft Glam has, but it also has these really pretty like pink and purple pops of color, so you could do a little bit more with this one. I feel like you can still get a really neutral look just like with Soft Glam, or you can get a really pretty pink and purple look as well. So I've been loving this palette. I'm actually wearing it on my eyes today and it's amazing. Alright, and then next up for the letter B, this one was really hard. I was thinking about the BH Cosmetics Love in London palette, which is one of my favorite palettes, but then I thought, you know what, I talk about that all the time. Why don't I pick something different and something that I use all the time? And what I came up with is the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer. So I got this a few months ago and I use this almost every day because it is such an amazing concealer. So I found out about it originally when I had gotten one of those sample cards with an order from Sephora, and I tried this out one day, just took a little bit off the sample card, and I was really impressed with how it laid on my skin. It really is cakeless. It's so super smoothing under the eyes, and it was like one of the nicest concealers I had ever tried. And I ended up actually using all of the shades on the card. Even when I got to the darker shades, I was using it as contour, and I just couldn't believe how much I was using up this little sample card. So I said, you know what, I have to just buy the product. So I bought a tube of it and I absolutely love it, like I said, and this is such a nice concealer. You can even use this as a foundation. I've done it before where I'm just starting to spot conceal and then I just kind of keep going, and the texture of it is really that nice that you could wear it all over your face and it looks amazing. So I really love this a lot. And then for C, I decided on the ColourPop Bare Necessities palette. So this is one of my favorite ColourPop palettes because of all of the neutral shades that you get in here. You get so much variety to choose from. You have warm tones, you have cool tones, and everything in between. Plus, I love ColourPop's formula. So for me, this one was easy and a no-brainer. All right, so then when it comes to D, I thought about Doll 10, and Doll 10 has so many amazing products that I love. I love their Doll Skin Foundation. I love their concealer, but I decided on these Hydrogel Cream Balm blushes. These are amazing. I know I've talked about these in the past, but I just think these are one of the nicest cream blushes that I own because the texture of them is like a cream to powder formula. It is so super soft. They dry down immediately and they just almost look like airbrushed on your cheeks. They're just so velvety and the colors are absolutely stunning. I have several different shades and I love each and every one. I wear these so much, and I also love to layer these underneath powder blushes because they dry down so quickly and they don't leave like a stickiness. You can actually layer a powder right on top and it just helps your blush to last even that much longer. Or I just wear them alone, especially on days like today when it's so hot outside and you just want something really quick and easy. Love these. These are amazing. All right, so next up we have the letter E, and this one was tough too because I was thinking about e.l.f. and then how much I like the Earth and Ocean palette, but I know I talk about that all the time on my channel, and again, I was trying to stick to things that are true favorites that I actually like wear all the time. So I came up with the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue Foundation. So I got this about a month ago now. I've been wearing it almost every day because it's just a phenomenal, almost like a CC cream. So it's replaced the It Cosmetics CC cream for me because it doesn't have that glowiness to it and it just sits better on my skin and it doesn't like draw attention to lines and pores or start to look cakey like the CC cream does. So I just have been loving this. It has SPF 45 in it, so it's pretty close to the It Cosmetics, which I think has 50, but I think this is amazing. Not that I don't love the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette, but this I wear every single day, and that one, you know, I just wear once in a while. now. So if you're looking for a really good alternative to the IT Cosmetics CC cream, this is it. It's amazing. All right, so moving on to the letter F, I knew I was going to go with Flower Beauty for this category, but I couldn't choose between two different products because I feel like they are completely even in my mind. So the first one is their Petal Pout lipsticks. These are my favorite drugstore lipstick. I love the formula of them. They're so super smooth. I'm wearing the shade Naked Blush today, and it's my perfect nude lipstick because it's not one of those pale nudes that washes me out. It has a little bit of pink to it, and it's just beautiful. It goes with everything, so when I don't really know what lipstick to wear, I just put this one on, and it pretty much looks good with almost everything that I wear. And I also really love the shade Spiced Petal too, which is pretty close to Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. It's almost an exact dupe, so I really love these two colors, but I actually have almost every shade in this range because they're phenomenal. They're just so smoothing. And then the second Flower Beauty product that I absolutely love are their Flower Pots blushes. I know I talk about these all the time too, but they're just such a smooth blush formula and they just look so amazing, and I love the shades that they come into. So Flower Beauty is killing it with these two. All right, so then moving on to the letter G, I thought of Glamlight Cosmetics. They have so many different palettes, and I know everybody talks about like their pizza palette and taco and the burger palette, but for me, my personal favorite from them has been the Masterpiece palette. This is actually the first one that they came out with, and it's a beautiful warm tone palette, but you also have some cooler tones in here. You have some really beautiful taupes and silvers, and there's a gorgeous green shimmer in it as well, and the formula is fantastic. I feel like Glamlight is definitely one of those underrated brands, and a lot of people don't take them seriously because of like the fun and funky palettes that they come up with, but honestly, they are a really solid brand. The formula is amazing, so this is definitely my favorite palette from Glamlight. And then for the letter H, I'm definitely going with the Huda Beauty Nude Light Obsessions palette. This is one of my favorite palettes from Huda. I mean, I love a lot of her palettes, but this one just really speaks to me because it is such a beautiful palette for my skin tone. I just love the colors in here, and it's so pretty and soft and something that I reach for pretty often. And also the formula is really good on these, and they're a small palette, so they're not super overwhelming. I really, really enjoy this one. And then for the letter I chose the I Heart Revolution Bronze and Glow palette. So this is such an awesome contour palette, or like a bronze and highlight palette. The bronzer shade is so stunning. It's like the perfect color for my skin tone. And also the highlighter is a really beautiful kind of subtle highlight. You can pack it on and make it more intense, but if you just want like a little bit of a glow, it's so beautiful. And in a way, it reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. The colors are really, really close, and this is a super affordable kind of dupe for that one. So this is a great affordable option if you're looking for a product like that, and I really don't hear a lot of people talking about this one. And then next up for the letter J, I chose the Jouer Blush Duo in the shade Adore. I adore this. It's beautiful. I think the colors are stunning, and it's a perfect nude blush palette. You have one that's kind of more of a peachy nude shade, and then the other one is more of a true nude with maybe like the slightest hint of a glow. It's not even, I don't even want to say it's shimmer because it's not really that shimmery, but it just has almost like a satiny finish, and it just sort of catches the light a little bit here and there. But these colors are beautiful. When I got it last summer, I took it on every trip with me. I wore it like nonstop. I definitely have to pull this out and start using it again. All right, so then next up for the letter K, I chose the Carity Cosmetics Picante palette. This one is a gorgeous warm tone palette. I also don't hear people talking about Carity very often, but their formula is insane. It's so amazing. It's so beautiful and smooth. The shimmer shades are like to die for, and the matte shades are really pigmented and they blend really nicely. I really love this formula. I got this palette at CVS, and it's a little bit more pricey like for a drugstore brand. I want to say it was around $28, but I feel like it's still a better price than high-end palettes, but the formula performs like high-end. So I really love this. I feel like it's a little more of like a fall color story, so I haven't taken it out and used it lately, but I definitely will be in the coming months. So next up for the letter L, I was debating again between two brands, Lorac, which I absolutely love. I love Lorac's palettes. I love their blushes. I did a whole video on how much I love Lorac, but when it came right down to it, I thought about what products do I use really regularly on an everyday basis, and I had to go with the L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base, my favorite primer of all time. I wear this almost every single day, and it is the most smoothing primer. If you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a really old product. I want to say it came out like 10 years ago or more, but I've been purchasing it ever since. Every time I get to the bottom of the jar, I go buy a new one. I really hope that they never discontinue this because it makes my skin look so perfect and so flawless. Even in person, whenever I wear this, people ask me like, what skincare are you using? Your skin looks so smooth. I mean, it really is like the best pore filler and kind of fine line filler that I've ever tried. So I love this stuff. And then for the letter M, I knew I was going to choose Milani, but it was really tough between the Soft and Sultry palette, which is one of my favorite neutral palettes, or the Silky Matte bronzer, but I went with the Silky Matte just because this is another one that I use almost every single day. And this color, which is number 2, Sunkissed, is the most beautiful bronzer for a more fair skin tone. It's really neutral. It's not too warm. It's not too cool toned. It's just perfect. And the formula of this one is probably my favorite formula of any bronzer because it really truly is silky. It just glides across your skin. It doesn't get muddy at all. I love it so much and highly recommend checking this out if you haven't already. And then for the letter N, this was another tough call. I knew I was going to do Nabla, but I wasn't sure what palette because I love so many of Nabla's palettes, but I had to go with the classic, and that is the Dreamy palette. This is probably my favorite palette from them just because of these shades again. It is so gorgeous. Just looking at it makes me happy. I love these warm tones, but it's not like a warm toned palette in that it has all those reds and oranges and yellows. It's more of like a rosy warm tone palette, and then you also have some pops of purple in here that are just super stunning and like a really beautiful lavender crease color. So I really love using this palette, and I think Nabla's formula again is one of the best. I couldn't think of a makeup brand that started with O other than Ofra, and I don't own any of Ofra's products, so I decided to go with a hair product since it's still in the beauty category, and this is the Olaplex number 3 Hair Perfector. So this is actually a hair treatment that you put on before you shampoo. You can put it on and leave it on for like 10 minutes or up to an hour or so, and then you go ahead and shampoo it out and use your regular conditioner and all that. But it's supposed to help strengthen the broken bonds that are in your hair, and whenever I use this, I notice a big difference, especially because I lighten my hair with bleach. It can really do a number and damage my hair on the ends. So usually I know that it's time to use this when my hair starts getting like stretchy when it's wet and it feels almost like it has that sticky feeling. I know then that my hair is probably about to break off and I need to go ahead and use this. And it really truly works. At least for me, it's worked in the past and really healed my hair. So for me, this is a magical product for sure. All right, so next up for the letter P, I was between 2 products again with this one, the Persona Identity palette, the original one. I love that palette. It's another like all-time favorite of mine, but I went with something that I use again on an everyday basis, and that is the Pixie Beauty Correction Concentrate in the shade Brightening Peach. So this color corrector is my all-time favorite. There are other great ones out there, like there's one from Beauty Pie that I just tried recently, and there's also one from Believe Beauty at Dollar General that's also really good, and it's under $5. But this one is still my favorite just because they got the color right. This one I feel like it corrects the best, and where I love to use this most is around my eyes because I've started to get darkness, kind of a bluish tint on the inner corners of my eyes that concealer alone doesn't hide, and putting this down first and then concealer on top completely cancels it out. And I also love using this on the outer corners of my eyes where they turn down because I have a little fold that creates a dark shadow and it makes my eyes look a little droopy. So when I put this inside that little fold on the outer corner, it instantly gives my eyes a lift. So I can't live without this. I use it every single day. It's an amazing product. All right, so we're up to Q, and Q was pretty much impossible to find a beauty brand. If you guys can think of a beauty brand that starts with Q, let me know. I was racking my brain trying to come up with one and I couldn't. So I ended up going with Q-tips because I do use these actually for beauty purposes. Normally when I wash my face at night, I try to get as much mascara off as I can, but sometimes it doesn't always happen and I wake up in the morning with a little bit underneath my eyes. So what I like to do is just take a little Q-tip, run it under some water, and just run it back and forth underneath my eye, and it picks up all the old mascara and gets rid of it. So I definitely use Q-tips in my beauty routine pretty often. All right, and then for the letter R, I had to go with Rephr brushes on this one. These brushes are my new favorite. I've been using them now the past couple months ever since I tried the first one, and they are fantastic. They are definitely on the pricey side, but they're one of my favorite brushes. Between these and Zoeva, I use almost all the time, and I just love the different variety of shapes of brushes. I love how they have so many really little ones that can get into the creases of my hooded eyes really well. I just think these are amazing and definitely worth the hype. And then for the letter S, this one was super easy. I had to go with Sydney Grace on this one, and this is the Enduring Love palette. This is such an amazing palette. I mean, honestly, all of Sydney Grace's eyeshadows are so, so good. I have a million of their singles, but this palette is just super beautiful, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every look that I've gotten out of this palette. It's so easy to use because the matte shades, I think, just blend out like a dream. They're not too powdery, they're not too like dense and too pigmented, so they're very easy to blend out, which I appreciate as somebody who's not that great at blending. And also the shimmer shades, they're just so packed full of pigment and shimmer that you don't have to wet these to make them pop. They just pop right away. So again, it just makes it very, very easy to use. I also love how many cool tones are in this palette. I just think it's gorgeous. I didn't originally care for it when I first saw promo photos, but then once I broke down and actually purchased it because so many people were recommending it to me, and in person it's so much prettier than it looked in the photos, and again, just so user-friendly, and I just love it. Next up for the letter T, again, I was super torn between Tarte or Too Faced. I knew I was going to pick one of the two, and the Tarte Tartelette in Bloom is one of my favorite palettes. Again, it's a staple, but I've talked about that so many times on my channel, and honestly, I love this one just as much, so I figured I would give this one some love, and that is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. So this palette, again, is one that I didn't really think I was going to love initially until I went in store and I swatched it, and it is the most gorgeous palette because even though it looks really colorful, if you cover up this green shade and the pink shade, it is actually a very neutral palette overall. You have so many stunning shimmer shades for the lid in this palette. The formula is fantastic. And you also get the perfect neutrals to create a base look on your eyes. You have two matte browns here, one that's a little lighter, one that's a little deeper. You also have a black shade and a matte ivory, and then all the rest are shimmers to put on the lids. So this palette is just so easy to use because I just do a neutral base look, and then I can choose any one of the shimmers to pop on my lid depending on what type of look I'm going for, what I'm wearing that day. And they're all just so foiled and metallic, just like the Sydney Grace ones. You put them on and they look amazing. You don't have to wet them to get them to show up. And bonus points, at least for me, that this smells heavenly. It smells like chocolate. I'm smelling it right now and it is amazing. So this is a huge favorite of mine. And then for the letter U, I have yet another palette. I feel like this video is going to be very palette heavy, but it's the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. So I love this for many reasons. One, because it's a warm tone palette that is very different and very unique. It has kind of more of these warm yellowy browns. It doesn't have like those deep dark reds and oranges, which sometimes I can shy away from a little bit because I have a lighter skin tone, and I feel like every shade in this palette I can use. I don't feel like anything is too dark for me. So for me, this palette just has colors that you don't see every day in a lot of other palettes, not to mention that the formula is really, really good. And then for the letter V, I have yet another palette. This is the Violet Voss Taupe Notch palette. This is my favorite Violet Voss palette, and actually I haven't been talking about it lately because it disappeared off of the Sephora website and I couldn't find it anywhere until I looked on the actual Violet Voss website, and it is still available for purchase there. So if you like the looks of this palette, you can go ahead and check it out on their website. But what I love about this is it is a huge palette full of taupey browns, basically. So you have a lot of really gorgeous cool tone browns in here that you don't find in a lot of other palettes. You do have some warm colors in here as well, but I love the mix. Not to mention that Violet Voss has a killer formula, really, really good, and highly recommend checking this out if you love neutrals like I do. All right, so next up for the letter W, I have a tie. I could not decide between these two products, so I'm just gonna show them both to you because you know what? It's my video. I can do what I want. So first up, we have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation, and this one gets major points for being the only stick foundation that works on my skin, not to mention it is super affordable. It reminds me a lot actually of the Tom Ford foundation stick, which I have, which costs like $87 or $88, which is insane. I don't even know why I purchased that. I think I was just assuming that for that price it was going to be amazing, and it's pretty good. That one gets along with my skin okay, but I actually prefer the formula of this one. It's just a stick foundation that doesn't look greasy on me or like it doesn't cake up. It's just a perfect texture, and I believe on the Wet n Wild website they did say that this was best for dry or normal skin types. So if you're oily, I think you might find this one to be just a little too slick, a little too hydrating, but I think that's why I love it so much, because I feel like most stick foundations just have a really kind of dry and powdery finish. So this one is amazing. And then the other W product that I love just as much is from Wander Beauty, and this is their On The Glow Blush and Illuminator. So I have mine in the shade Coral Rose and Nude Glow. So this blush is absolutely beautiful. I love the texture of it. It's not a greasy stick and it dries down right away. It blends in beautifully. It's very pigmented too, so a little bit goes a long way. I don't feel like you have to keep layering it up over and over again. And love this color. It's super gorgeous. And then on the other side, you have the Nude Glow highlighter. And also, that is a stunning highlight. I definitely prefer cream highlights to powders these days because I just find that they get on a little bit better with my dry skin and they don't look as like sparkly or over the top. So they just give you like a really nice sheen on your face and it looks a little bit more natural than other highlighters. So this is another kind of go-to product, especially in the summertime, that I really love. And then next for the letter X, I have to thank Makeup Revolution for coming out with the new brand XX Revolution just in time for this video because I have no idea what I would have chosen for this category if that brand hadn't launched last month. But I actually was pretty impressed with a lot of the products that I tried in the line. Ultimately though, I chose the blushes because I think these are so stunning from the packaging to the formula. Packaging looks really high end and so is the formula. I'm wearing the shade, which one am I wearing today? I'm wearing one of them. I have to open them up and look. Entice, this one right here. It's just a really beautiful peachy nude. And like I said, the formula is just so good. It's really pigmented. It blends easily on the cheeks and they come in so many different colors. You could easily find a shade that works for you. So these are definitely at the top of my list when it comes to XX Revolution, but I did a whole video on it, so I will link that above in case you want to go check that out. So next up for the letter Y, I couldn't really think of a brand that started with Y except for YSL, and I don't have any of their products at the moment. So I decided to go with Yes Style, which I know is a website, but it was the only thing I could come up with. And my favorite product from Yes Style is the Juicy Pang blusher from Ecru. So this I showed in a recent video and I fell in love with this blush. It is the coolest blush ever. It looks like a little nail polish, but it just gives your cheeks this really gorgeous, like almost watercolor type glow, and they just make your cheeks look really healthy and your skin looks radiant and beautiful. And this blush also lasts all day on me, so I just really love the formula and I will definitely be ordering more shades. And then last but not least for the letter Z, I knew I wanted to choose Zoeva because I love Zoeva as a brand, but I had no idea whether I was going to pick an eyeshadow palette or their new bronzers or their blushes. There's so many great products from Zoeva, but at the end of the day, I tried to go with something, again, that I wear on a regular basis, and that would be their Authentic Skin foundation. This is one of my favorite foundations of all time, and before I got the Estee Lauder Futurist, which is kind of what I'm wearing every day these days just because it has the SPF and I go outside more often now. But before that, I was wearing this every single day, and I would definitely rank this as my absolute favorite foundation because it is so skin-like and beautiful. And now that I'm over 40 and I have drier skin, this just sits so nicely. It doesn't cake, it doesn't cling to dry patches. It gives like a beautiful medium coverage, but it's not like too heavy or too full, and it's also not so sheer that like everything is poking out and I feel like I have to add more layers. So one layer of this just gives me beautiful even coverage coverage, and it really looks like my true skin. So this is an amazing foundation, and if you haven't tried it yet, I definitely recommend checking it out on Ulta's website. It's so good. All right guys, so that's everything. We made it all the way through the alphabet. I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also I'd love to hear what your favorites are down in the comments below. You don't have to tell me like every single letter, but you could tell me some of them, or if you want to, you could tell me. It's up to you guys. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave, and I'll see you all in my next video. Take care guys. Bye.